So the last section for this chapter 1, pre-calculus, is about quadratic equation. So what is a quadratic equation? The quadratic equation can be written in this form, right? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Okay, so what is a, b, and c? They are numbers. Okay, so they are real numbers, and make sure that the a cannot be 0. So it means that this a not supposed to be 0. Right, then how about b and c? B and c can be 0. Okay, so example here. So if we have x squared minus 3x plus 2, all right, so this is a quadratic equation. What is the a here? The a is 1. What is the b? The b is negative 3. And what is the c? The c is 2. Now, how about the second example here? X squared minus 1. So is this a quadratic equation? Yes, right? The a is 1. What is the b? Now, the b is the number in front of x. Now, what can we see x here? No, right? So it means that the b is 0. So 0 multiply x, we get 0. Therefore, the x does not exist. Right? The c is the number without the x. Therefore, the c is negative 1. All right, so what about this one? The third example. Now, 4x minus x equals to 4x squared. Now, we can actually rearrange this equation to 4x squared. Now, we bring the 4x to the other side, becomes minus 4x, and bring the x over. So bring the x over here, it becomes, right, plus x, and equals to 0. And then from here, we have 4x squared, right, minus 3x is equal to 0. Okay, so in this case, right, the a is, right, the a is the value in front of x squared is 4. What is the b? The b is negative 3. And what is the c? Now, as you can see here, we do not have c, right? C is the number without x, but it's not here. Therefore, the c is 0. All right, so all these are quadratic equation. Okay, now solving quadratic equation, it means to find the value of x. So when we have, right, for example, right, x squared minus 3x plus 2 is 0. We want to find out what is the x, so that when we take this value square minus 3 times the value plus 2, we can get 0. Okay, so this is what we call solving the quadratic equation. Now, there are two methods we can solve, right? Actually, more than two methods, but what we are going to discuss here is two methods. There are two methods only, right? Solved by method of factorization, right? Solved by quadratic formula. Let's look at these two methods one by one. All right, solved by factorization. Now, if we have x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equals to 0, okay, so we want to find out, okay, what value when we square, all right, minus 2 times the value minus 3 is equals to 0. We want to find out what is the value. Okay, so this is what we can do. We can actually factorize this. So still remember we mentioned factorization before this. We have, okay, this is x squared, all right, this is minus 3. So the middle one is negative 2x. Okay, so first we are going to look for what multiply what to give us x squared. It will be x multiply x. And after that, Right, so what multiply what to give us negative 3? It will be 3 and 1. It can be negative 3, positive 1, or positive 3, negative 1. Now, however, when we multiply like this, we need to get negative, and we sum, we need to get negative 2. So here will be 3x, here will be x only. Now, since this is negative 2, it should be negative 3x, positive x, right? Negative 3x plus positive x, then we get a negative 2x, right? Therefore, this should be negative and this should be positive. So we have x minus 3 and x plus 1, right? X minus 3, x plus 1. Therefore, we have x minus 3, x plus 1 is 0. Now, after that, we also want to know that, okay, from here, x minus 3, x minus 3 multiply x plus 1 give us 0. So, all right, let's say you have a multiply b equals to 0. What conclusion can you say? We can say either a is 0 or b is 0 or both, right? All right, so when you multiply two numbers, you get 0. Either one of these is 0 or both are 0. Therefore, we just write like this, x minus 3 is 0, x plus 1 is 0, right? This should be all. So if x minus 3 is 0, so the x is 3. If x plus 1 is 0, so the x is negative 1. Okay, now we can actually check our answer here. Okay, now let's say if the x is 3, so we substitute here 3, substitute here, we have 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 3. So what do we get? This is 9 minus 6 minus 3, so we get 0, right? So yes, we get 0. Okay, so therefore x equals to 3 is one of the solution. Now it goes the same if we substitute negative 1 inside, we will still get 0. Alright, so this method is called factorization method. Now let's see the second example here. Now actually this is supposed to be another line, right? Maybe right, something goes wrong with the PowerPoint. So now what happened is that here we have x squared plus 7x equals to 0. So we can see that x is actually the common factor. We have x here, we have x here, so we extract the x out. So we have x multiply x plus 7 equals to 0. And from here, x is 0 or x plus 7 is 0, right? So if the x is 0, of course the x is 0 is one of the answer. And if x plus 7 is 0, then x equals to negative 7 is another answer. Right, so this is factorization method. Now let's move on to solving the quadratic equation by using quadratic formula. So this is the quadratic formula, right? X equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, now what is the a, b, and c here? The a, b, and c here refer to this number, and this number. So it means that you substitute this number here, right? This number you use it for here, use it for here. And for a, this number you use it for here and also here. Okay, and of course for C you use it for this one. All right, then we can find the answer. Let's look at the example. Now we are using the same example, x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals to 0. So what is the a here? The a is here, right? A is 1. So the b is here, the b is negative 2. All right, make sure you include the sign as well. And what is the c? Right, you have to include the sign, so the c is negative 3. So now we substitute a, b, and c into the formula. So negative b, right, so we put negative 2, plus minus square root b squared, so we put negative 2 squared, minus 4a and c, so a is 1, and the c is negative 3 over 2a. What is a? A is 1. Now, after this step, you can actually solve this using calculator. Now, we are going to solve inside here first. Okay, the calculation inside the square root we have to solve first. Then from here we get 16. So square root of 16, we can get one positive number and one negative number, and they are positive 4 or negative 4. So after that, we split this into 2. So 2 plus, all right, we solve for plus, right, 2 plus 4 over 2, we get 3. And minus, we solve it here. Okay, so 1 minus and 1 plus. Okay, we've split it into 2 to solve separately. So 2 minus 4 over 2 is negative 1. Therefore, we solve the equation using the formula. Okay. Okay, let's consider the second example. So x squared minus 6x minus 5 equals to 0. Okay, so from here we can see the a is 1, right? So this is 1. And this b is negative 6, right? And c is negative 5. Okay, now we substitute a, b, c into the formula. So negative b, so we have negative 6 here, plus minus square root. Okay, this is b squared, so it will be negative 6 squared minus 4a, which is 1, and c, negative 5, over 2a, which is 1. All right, so what we do, we are going to solve the calculation inside the square root. So to solve this, we can use calculator and we will get square root of 65. Now, so square root of 65, right, we actually know that 56 is 14 times 4. Now, why do we need to do this? Because we can actually split this one into square root of 14 multiply square root of 4. All right, so let me give you a better understanding here. So 56 square root is actually power 1 over 2. Okay, and we actually know that this is 14 times 4 square root of 1 over 2, right? Now, according to the formula we have learned earlier, this will be 14 1 over 2 times 4 1 over 2. Now, according to what formula? According to the formula a, b, n is a, n, b, n. All right, remember this formula? Okay, so according to this formula, so we split 14 to the power of 1 over 2, multiply 4 power 1 over 2, and this will give us this one. All right, so now by doing this, so square root of 4 we get 2, so we have a 2 here. Okay, square root of 4 is 2, so we have 2 here. Okay, so this 2, and now 6 divided by 2, we have 3. All right, so here 2 divided by 2, so this one no more. All right, so then we have 3 plus minus square root of 14. Okay, so actually this is a typo error, right? So it should be divided and disappear. Now example 3. Now we have x squared plus x plus 1 equals to 0. So from here, the a is 1, the b is 1, and the c is 1. Alright, by substitute all this value into the formula, we have negative b plus minus b squared minus 4a and c. All right, so over 2a. So by solving this one, we have 1 minus 4, then we get negative 3. Now, square root of negative is actually not defined, undefined. All right, since this is undefined, now it means that what square gives us negative 3? Now, in the real value, this is undefined. Okay, so square root of what gives us negative 3? So it's not possible. Therefore, right, this is not a real number and x has no solution. So it actually means that there are some situations we cannot find the x. All right, so what x gives us 0? Now, not possible because you can see here, now for any number, all right, this one square, this is positive, and this is positive. Okay, so this might be positive but negative, but however, all right, so x squared plus 1 is always bigger than s. Okay, x squared plus 1 is always bigger than x. Therefore, the answer here, all right, cannot be a 0. Right, so x has no solution. Right, so by this we end our chapter 1. So these are the things that we need to know before we learn more about calculus.